How's everyone doing today? My name is Ador Mansat, and I am excited to present to you my Doctor of Nursing Practice Capstone project on the combination use of semaglutide and intermittent fasting for weight loss. But first, of course, I wanted to say thank you so much to Dr. Deborah Terry and, of course, my preceptor, Dr. Heidi Reginas, for helping me in this project, and for Miss Elaine for being here during this practice presentation. So here goes. First, let's look at the background of our DNP project. The problem we are focusing on is the obesity epidemic. Obesity is a major health concern, especially in developed countries like us here in the United States. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1/3 of the U.S. adult population is now classified as obese. This alarming statistic paints a sobering picture of the widespread nature of the problem, and the consequences of obesity go far beyond individual health, impacting the broader dynamics and community health care. Specific regions or communities like my home state here in California might be more at risk than others, highlighting the need for tailored interventions. Individuals with obesity face not only physical health challenges, but also psychological strains, societal hurdles, and socio-cultural impediments such as weight stigma. These additional burdens can make it difficult for them to manage their weight effectively. The persistent rise in adult obesity rates underscores the crucial role that healthcare professionals like us, especially nurses and doctors like us, play in both prevention and intervention. So by providing education, support, and resources, doctors and nurses can empower individuals, our individual patients, to make healthy choices and manage their weight, ultimately contributing to a healthier and more resilient community. So that's the background of my DNP project problem. So now let's move on to the next slide. This study investigates the combination of semaglutide, a medication initially developed for diabetes, and intermittent fasting, or IF, to combat obesity in a specific Southern California population. The need for this research arises from the limitations of traditional weight management approaches like conventional diet and exercise. While these methods may be effective for some, many people struggle to achieve lasting results. So this study aims to explore whether combining semaglutide and IF can offer a more effective solution for individuals who have not achieved the desired results through traditional methods, so the conventional diets and exercise. So by using the PICO model, the research will be conducted in a rigorous, the study will be conducted in a rigorous and systematic manner, contributing to the clinical understanding of weight management and potentially influencing standard of care or care practices for obesity in non-diabetic individuals. Now let's look at the PICO question that is relevant for our DNP study. So this is the PICO statement. So this study focuses on non-diabetic adults aged 18 to 64 with a body mass index or BMI of 25 to 39 who haven't seen results with traditional diet and exercise. We want to see how combining semaglutide and intermittent fasting impacts their weight loss compared to just simply semaglutide alone over a 2-month period. So specifically, we'll be measuring percentage weight loss and improvements in BMI. So let's break down the PICO question, if I may. So P is for population. So the PICO really is a mnemonic. It stands for P for population. So who are we studying? We're studying non-diabetic adults aged 18 to 64 with a BMI of 25 to 39, not responsive to conventional diet and exercise. So I is for intervention. What are we doing? We're combining semaglutide and IF for weight management. C is for comparison. What are we comparing it to? So we're comparing semaglutide alone and versus vis-a-vis adding intermittent fasting to semaglutide for the secondary intervention. What's the O, or the outcome? So what are we measuring? We're measuring two things: the percentage weight loss, and we're also measuring any improvement with the body mass index or BMI. And what's the time frame? 2 months. So by using this PICO framework, we can conduct a focused and scientifically sound investigation into the potential of the combined approach for weight management for this specific population. Okay? So at this point, let's now look at the literature review that sets the stage for this DNP capstone project. You remember that countless nights we spent searching the South University online library. So this basically captures a snapshot of those literature reviews. So the first literature review highlights 2 studies. These 2 studies were reviewed to explore the effectiveness of semaglutide and intermittent fasting for managing weight. Let's look at the first study conducted by Harris and Associates in 2018, which analyzed data from 40 studies. This is a meta-analysis, and they found, the authors found that individuals undergoing IF or intermittent fasting experience greater weight loss than those with constant calorie restriction or no intervention at all. This study suggests that incorporating IF into weight management plans could be beneficial for overweight and obese adults. So that's the first study. Let's look at the second study. The second study, led by Wilding et al. In 2021, was a randomized controlled trial where individuals with overweight or obesity were randomly assigned to receive either semaglutide injections or a placebo alongside lifestyle modification for 68 weeks. The results showed that those taking semaglutide achieved significantly greater weight loss, about 14.9%, or not about, but equal to 14.9%, compared to those taking the placebo, which is only 2.4%. So this suggests that using semaglutide may be a valuable addition to treatment plans for individuals struggling with overweight and obesity. So based on these 2 studies, both IF and semaglutide seem to be effective options for weight management in overweight and obese individuals. However, further research is needed to assess the potential benefits and risks of combining these 2 interventions. Hence, this DNP study, right? So clear with how the DNP study evolved based on this, from these 2 inputs. So 2 more studies were reviewed to explore the effectiveness of semaglutide and intermittent fasting for weight management. The first study by Johns et al. 2016 compared the benefits of minimal intervention with active dietary and exercise interventions in individuals with obesity. They found that those in the low intervention group gained weight on the average, and highlighting the need for more effective approaches to manage obesity. Moving on to the second study by Patterson in 2017, which focused on the potential benefits and mechanism of IF. This review found that IF may offer several advantages, including improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammation, and effective weight loss strategies. However, more research is needed to optimize protocols for achieving these benefits and address potential disease prevention measures. These additional studies emphasize the limitations of low-level interventions for addressing obesity and highlight the potential benefits of IF for metabolic health and weight management. However, and again, further research is crucial to optimize protocols and assess the long-term safety and efficacy of intermittent fasting, especially when combined with other interventions like the pharmacological intervention of semaglutide. So again, like the first 2 sets, the first 2 studies earlier, this literature review sets the stage for our DNP capstone project. So let's move on to an important concept of quality improvement. So quality improvement, or QI, stands as a cornerstone in our efforts towards achieving our multifaceted DNP study goal. So the type of project that we're using here is a quality improvement project. This goal encompasses increasing population health, enhancing patient care and outcomes, lowering healthcare costs on a per capita basis, and improving the overall experience for healthcare providers like us. So let's delve into the various components that make up our QI project. First, we focus on health policy. This involves creating and implementing policies that have a far-reaching impact on healthcare standards and practices. It's about making systemic and systematic changes that benefit the entire healthcare system. Next, we have educational intervention. So this is all about empowering healthcare professionals through training and education. By enhancing their skills and knowledge, we can significantly improve the quality of care that we provide to patients, right? So now let's move on to practice intervention. We also emphasize practice intervention in this QI project. This involves changing and improving clinical practices to ensure that patient care is efficient, effective, and consistently of high quality. Another key element of this QIP is the dissemination of best practices. By identifying and sharing the most effective healthcare practices, we can ensure that these beneficial methods are adopted more widely. We're also committed to the development of clinical practice guidelines, or CPGs. These guidelines are crucial as they help healthcare practitioners like us make the best decisions for patient care in various clinical situations. And lastly, we focus on quality improvement as a whole. This is an ongoing process and integration where we continuously seek ways to improve every aspect of healthcare delivery. So in summary, our quality improvement project is a comprehensive approach that combines policy development, educational initiatives, practical interventions, and the sharing of knowledge and best practices to ensure the overall quality of healthcare. At this point, let's explore the theoretical framework that guides our study. This framework is crucial in understanding the underlying principles that guide our approach for weight and obesity management. So first, let's talk about SDT, or the self-determination theory, developed by Ryan and Deci in the year 2000. Seems to be outdated at this point, but this theory still plays a pivotal role in our understanding of motivation and psychological well-being. SDT highlights three critical components: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy refers to feeling self-directed in one's actions. Competence is about feeling capable and effective in one's skills, while relatedness points to feeling connected with others. So together, these three elements foster self-determined motivation, hence the self-determination theory, and are essential for our psychological well-being. So why is this important? Because these three factors are key to intrinsic motivation that's coming from within, which Ryan, Deci, and more recently see in 2023. So that's a more updated take of Ryan and Deci's 2000 study. So the 2023 study from C also linked basically share the same concept towards sustainable health behaviors. Okay? So now let's shift our focus to the second theoretical model or framework, the basis of our DNP capstone project, which is CWOMM, or the chronic weight and obesity management model. This model was elucidated by Colin and Gerard in 2022. So it's a more recent theoretical framework, and it was also further explored by Singh and colleagues in the same year. CWOMM encapsulates comprehensive strategies for managing weight and obesity over a prolonged, extended period. It's not just a short-term solution, it's about a sustainable change. So the CWOMM emphasizes a structured, personalized approach. So these include tailored dietary plans, physical activity regimens, behavioral changes, and pharmacotherapy when necessary. So the goal here is not just weight loss, but maintaining that weight loss over time, a sustainable overall change. So in summary, both the self-determination theory, or SDT, and the chronic weight and obesity management model, CWOMM, provide a robust theoretical framework for our DNP study. They both help us understand the psychological aspects of motivation and well-being, as well as the practical long-term strategies for weight and obesity management. Okay? So moving on, we're going to discuss the project setting and participant population for our study. The settings for our project are two distinguished clinics in California. First, we have the Restore Med Clinic, which is located in the scenic Newport Beach area. A gorgeous place. The second setting is at the Serenity Wellness Medicine Clinic, which we can find in Ontario, California, about 50 miles away, going south. So these clinics have been chosen for their state-of-the-art facilities and their commitment to innovative approaches in healthcare. Now, let's talk about the people who are at the heart of our DNP study, the participant population. We're focusing on a specific group here, non-diabetic adults. These participants are between the ages of 18 to 64 and have a body mass index or BMI ranging from 25 to 39. Importantly, these are individuals who have not found success with conventional weight management strategies, but who are in general relatively healthy. So this criteria ensures that our study addresses the needs of those who are most in need of alternative approaches to weight management. So by selecting this particular setting and participants, we aim to explore weight management strategies in the real world scenario, reflecting the challenges faced by individuals who struggle with weight issues despite trying standard interventions. Thank you for your attention at this point, and let's prepare to dive into the next slide where we will look into the methodologies employed in our DNP study. So for our DNP capstone project, we present an essential roadmap guiding the execution of our project. Let's delve into the specifics of the setting and participation. The specifics of the settings and the participants before we discuss the quality improvement approach. We are focusing on patients who are already part of the weight management program under the expert guidance of Dr. Heidi Regenas, MD, in her private practice clinic, first at Restore Med Clinic and then at Serenity Wellness Medicine Clinic. These patients are already engaged in a structured approach to managing their weight. And it's within this context that we're conducting our study. It's very important that we set the context to the study. So to ensure a thorough and standardized entry point for our participants, we're utilizing the medical screening and recruitment survey form. That's quite a mouthful. It stands for MSNR and RSF. This tool enables us to implement a comprehensive medical screening process, ensuring that we're working with participants who meet the precise criteria for our study. So we are also employing a rigorous measure of weight and BMI at two critical points: before the start of the semaglutide-only intervention, and then again at the end of this intervention, and then the start and then the end of the combined semaglutide and IAP intervention. This will allow us to track the progress and the impact of our pre- and post-interventions accurately. So our methodology is rooted in quality improvement, as I mentioned earlier, specifically utilizing a pre- and a post-test design format. This design is pivotal as it allows us to make comparisons between the pre- and post-test data using both descriptive and inferential statistics, giving us a clear picture of the intervention's outcomes. Regarding our sample size, we're working with 12 participants. This is important. It is important to highlight this fact as one of the key limitations of this DNP study. Time constraints and initial clinical limitations regarding the strict privacy and confidentiality policy at Restore Med Clinic. These are the reasons which prevented my initial access to patient recruitment, which led to only these 12 participant volunteers. Thanks to the help and intervention of Dr. Heidi Regenas and the immediate approval of the South University Review Board, upon the immediate advice of our professor, Dr. Deborah Terry, and our program director, Dr. Sandra Jones, we were able to open up a second clinical site at Serenity Wellness Medicine Clinic so that this DNP capstone project can continue with data collection. If we didn't do that fix, I will not be standing here in front of you with available data. So again, thank you to Dr. Terry, Dr. Heidi, and Dr. Sandra for the immediate action there, immediate intervention. So nevertheless, our DNP capstone project methodology is designed to provide a robust framework for examining the effects of semaglutide both alone and in combination with IF on weight management in our selected participants at Serenity Wellness Medicine Clinic. So, and to elaborate further, let's now focus on the tools utilized in our DNP study. So, there's an accurate and consistent approach to data collection, and this is paramount. And for this, we have employed several DMIs or data management instruments. These instruments are crucial for ensuring that the data we collected are both reliable and valid. The data measurements we're concerned with include weight, height, and BMI. Key metrics in our weight management study. Let's break down each of these. Weight is defined as the body mass of the participant, which we measure in terms of pounds and then converted to kilograms for BMI calculation. This is a fundamental metric for our study because it is a direct indicator of our participants' progress. BMI or body mass index, on the other hand, is a derived or calculated measurement, which we can calculate by dividing the participants' weights in kilograms, so pounds first converted to kilograms, and we divide that by the square of their height in meters. We're the English unit, right? The stadiometer is in English unit, so it's converted to meters, and then the BMI gives us a standardized way to categorize the participants' weight relative to their height, providing us with a clearer understanding of their weight status. And then to ensure that we measure these metrics with utmost precision and reliability, we're utilizing a calibrated digital weighing scale for weight. And then for height, we're using your standard stadiometer that anyone can find in any clinic. So both these tools are known for their accuracy, and they are accepted standard tools in clinical settings. So these DMIs for weight, height, and BMI are fundamental to our methodology as they provide the quantitative data we need to analyze the effectiveness of our interventions. In summary, the tools that we've chosen are designed to provide us with precise and standardized data, enabling us to conduct a rigorous and reliable study. With the right tools in hand, we can confidently move forward with our research or with our study. Now let's proceed to the next slide, where we will explore the data collection in greater detail. Time check, we're about 22 minutes to the presentation. So now let's turn our close attention to our data collection process in much detail, and a critical phase that lays the foundation for the integrity of our findings. Let's start with the pre-test and education phase. Before administering the first weekly subcutaneous dose of semaglutide, we meticulously recorded each participant's initial weight, height, and BMI right at the clinic. This initial data collection is pivotal as it sets the baseline against which we will measure future changes. Additionally, we conducted an educational session. So why? So that participants were thoroughly apprised of the treatment protocol, its mechanism, and the potential advantages of the intervention. They were also provided with informational brochures and materials, most of them in video forms, ensuring that they were well informed about the potential benefits and side effects of semaglutide. Moving on to the post-test and evaluation phase, after 8 weeks, which is 2 months, we conducted a post-test assessment. Here we measured and recorded the participants' weight and BMI once again. We don't expect any one of them to shrink, so the BMI, the height pretty much stays constant. This post-intervention data is essential for assessing the efficacy of the treatment within the 2-month DNP study timeframe. We also collected qualitative feedback, capturing the participants' experience with the treatment, any side effects they encountered, and their overall satisfaction with the intervention. This qualitative data provides context to the quantitative changes we observe. Speaking of quantitative changes, our quantitative analysis involved the data collected from both the pre and post-test stages. This is the main data collected, the quantitative data, which was then scrutinized using appropriate statistical tests to draw meaningful conclusions from the numbers. After all, this is a QIP based on this quantitative data. So lastly, we ensured that confidentiality and ethical considerations were upheld throughout the research process. All participant data were kept strictly confidential. We anonymized all forms, measurements, and feedback using unique identification codes. This ensured that personal identities were not revealed during the data analysis or any dissemination phases of our research, which we're going to discuss in the latter part of this presentation. So in circling back, our data collection process was comprehensive, methodical, and ethical, providing us with a robust data set for analysis. With this in place, we can then move forward confidently with interpreting our results. We can now do our descriptive and inferential statistics. Now let's advance to the next slide, where we will delve into the statistical analysis, the results and the findings of our DNP study. So in this slide, we explore the descriptive and statistics that summarize the data from our study. It's a very busy slide, so just bear with me. These statistics are fundamental to understanding the patterns within our data and will guide us in interpreting the efficacy of our intervention. So let's begin with a glance at the median and the standard deviations, right? The measures of central tendency. So let's focus on the median and the SD for the weight and the BMI at the various stages of the study. We observed that the median weight at the start of the semaglutide-only intervention was 188 pounds, with a standard deviation of 35.092, ranging from 139 to 270 pounds. Are you able to locate that from this busy slide? So after the semaglutide-only intervention, you can see that the median weight actually dropped to 169.5 pounds, indicating the effectiveness of the semaglutide-only treatment. Similarly, if you look at the median BMI at the start, it was 31.5, and it decreased to 29 after the semaglutide-only phase. So as we combine semaglutide with intermittent fasting, there was a further reduction in both weight and BMI, with the median weight decreasing to 157.5 and the median weight or the median BMI decreasing to 27. So now let's discuss the Shapiro-Wilk test, which we use to test the normality of our data distribution. The results are crucial as they impact the selection of subsequent statistical tests. For most variables, the significance value was greater than 0.05, which implies a normal distribution. However, the Shapiro-Wilk test indicates that the BMI at the end of semaglutide only and the BMI at the start of semaglutide plus intermittent fasting did not follow a normal distribution, as their significance values are less than 0.05. Importantly, the median values for all our variables have shown a decrease from the pre-test to the post-test, which suggests the effectiveness of the interventions that we have implemented. So in conclusion, our descriptive analysis provide a snapshot of the data's central tendency and variability, and the normality test shape our approach to further analysis. We know that it's not a normal curve, right? So this slide lays the groundwork for the inferential statistics that we're going to be discussing in the next slide. And this will allow us to draw more definitive conclusions about the impact of each of our two interventions. So let's proceed to the next slide to continue our examination of the results. So this important slide captures the analysis of the change in weight and BMI before and after the use of semaglutide only. So this is the first intervention. Using the Wilcoxon signed rank test, which we now know is the appropriate test for this particular set of data. This non-parametric test helps us understand the significance of the change or the changes observed in our participants. So we're using the ordinates and that non-parametric test for ranks, using ranks, right? So let's dive into the weight changes first. We had a total of 12 participants. We explained why we only had 12 participants, but given these 12 participants, we now look at the ranks of the weight differences, and we find that all 12 showed a negative rank. This indicates that for all participants, the post-test weight was lower than the pre-test weight. What does that mean? The median rank was 6.5 with a SAM rank 678. The C-value was calculated to be negative 3.062 with a significance level of 0.002. So again, what does that mean? With a significance level well below our alpha of 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis, which implies that there is a statistically significant reduction in weight after the use of semaglutide only within our participant group. In other words, every one of the 12 volunteer participants lost weight using the semaglutide only intervention, and these are all statistically significant. Moving to the BMI changes, we see a similar pattern. Again, we have 12 participants with negative ranks, a mean rank of 6.5, and the same sum of ranks of 78.0. So the Z-value here is negative 3.086, also with a significance level of 0.002. So just as with the weight, the significance level for the BMI change is also well below the alpha threshold of 0.05. Again, leading us to reject the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative hypothesis. And this indicates that the reduction in BMI after the use of semaglutide only is also statistically significant, which is the alternative hypothesis, right? So in conclusion, both the weight and the BMI of participants showed significant reduction post-intervention with semaglutide only. The data from the Wilcoxon signed rank test confirms the effectiveness of semaglutide in managing weight and BMI in our study's context. This slide reinforces the potential of the first intervention, semaglutide only, as a viable intervention for weight management. So now let's continue on to the next slide to explore further insights from our study. For our next slide, we'll examine the change in weight and BMI before and after the use of our second intervention, which is semaglutide in combination with intermittent fasting. So we're now reviewing or analyzing the impact of adding intermittent fasting to semaglutide only. So here, we present the results from the Wilcoxon signed rank test, which is crucial for assessing the effectiveness of this combined intervention on our participants' weight and BMI. Starting with weight, our analysis include data from 12 participants. Looking at the ranks, we see that all participants had negative ranks also, meaning that every individual showed a decrease in weight after the intervention. The mean rank was consistent at 6.5, with the sum of ranks totaling 78, and the C-value is negative 3.084 with a significance level of 0.002. What does this indicate? With the p-value standing at 0.002, which is considerably less than our alpha, our confidence level of 0.05, we decisively reject the null hypothesis. This result supports the acceptance of the alternative hypothesis of affirming the combination of semaglutide and IF indeed significantly reduces weight, and these are statistically significant. In other words, every one of the 12 volunteer participants also lost weight using the combined semaglutide and IF intervention. So moving on to BMI, we see a similar trend. Again, with 12 participants showing a negative ranks, the mean rank remains 6.5, the sum of ranks is 78, the C-value here is slightly higher at negative 3.166, but yet the significance level is again 0.002. So, as with the height, the BMI results are statistically significant, leading us to reject the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative. This reinforces the finding that combining semaglutide with intermittent fasting has a significant impact on reducing BMI as well. So in summary, the data, sorry, I just had to drink some water there. So from the Wilcoxon signed rank test, clearly demonstrates that the combined use of semaglutide and IF is effective in reducing both weight and BMI among our study participants. So these significant findings underscore the potential of this combined approach as a potent intervention for weight management. So we now arrive at the outcome of our study, and time check, we're close to the 35-minute mark. So this outcome of our study encapsulates the findings of our interventions with semaglutide, both alone and in combination with intermittent fasting or IF. So firstly, we address the weight of non-diabetic adults using semaglutide alone. The data led us to reject the null hypothesis that positive no statistically significant difference before and after the intervention. Instead, we accept the alternative hypothesis, confirming that there is indeed a statistically significant difference in weight due to semaglutide use. So, and the same conclusion applies for the BMI changes as well. So, and then when evaluating the weight of non-diabetic adults before and after using semaglutide in combination with IF, again, we see the findings that lead us to reject the null hypothesis and affirming the alternative hypothesis, indicating a statistically significant difference in weight as well as in BMI due to the combined intervention of semaglutide and IF. Okay? So in summary, our study has shown significant evidence that both semaglutide alone and in combination with intermittent fasting can lead to meaningful differences in weight and BMI among non-diabetic adults. These outcomes provide valuable insights into the efficacy of these interventions, offering a promising direction for weight management strategies. So let's proceed to summarize the findings in the next slide. So let's synthesize the findings of the study from our DNP-CNP. So the core message from our DNP-CP study is that semaglutide applied for both individually and in conjunction with IF has proven to be effective for short-term weight loss in non-diabetic adults. It's very important that we don't overgeneralize, especially given our very limited number of data, right? So interestingly, the findings indicate that the combination approach where semaglutide was paired with IF did not actually yield significantly superior results when compared to semaglutide alone within the 2 months time frame of our study. This is a crucial insight as it challenges the initial assumption that combining these two strategies would hopefully naturally lead to better outcomes. The outcome of our research may point towards possible limitations. One such limitation could be the duration of the study. 2 months may not be an adequate length of time to observe the full potential benefit of combining semaglutide with IF. Alternately, and most likely, the limitation could lie in our sample size. We only were able to recruit 12 volunteer patient participants given the time constraints that we'd had with our formal core study. With more participants, we might observe different results or be able to draw a more robust conclusion. These considerations are vital as they inform future research directions. They suggest that we should explore longer study durations and possibly larger sample size to fully understand the long-term effects and potential benefits of combined treatment approaches. So in conclusion, our findings provide a valuable contribution to the ongoing exploration of effective weight management. So moving on, okay. As we examine the next slide, we reflect on our project alignment with DNP Essentials. This framework provides a comprehensive approach to doctoral nursing practice education and is integral to our professional and scholarly foundation. Starting with Essential 1, the scientific underpinnings, our project was deeply rooted in the scientific evidence gathered from clinical data. We embark on this research with a robust understanding of the biological, physiological, and behavioral sciences that underpin the practice of nursing. Moving on to Essential number 2, the DNP Essential number 2, organizational leadership and systems thinking, we applied these concepts through our work with private health clinics to coordinate the project. The use of semaglutide in our study also addressed the social-cultural stigma faced by patients with obesity, showcasing how organizational leadership can impact patient care and societal attitudes. For DNP Essential number 3, clinical scholarship and analytical methods, we've embraced a rigorous scholarly approach by collecting pre and post data and utilizing descriptive and inferential statistics for analysis. We contributed to the clinical scholarship with our analytical methods. And regarding DNP Essential number 4, in interprofessional collaboration, her project was a testament to the power of teamwork. We worked closely with faculty, with clinical preceptors, and professional staff in nursing who can now consider adopting semaglutide to aid their patients based on our findings. There are a total of 8 DNP Essentials, but in the interest of time, we will focus on these first 4 DNP essentials, especially considering that we're also already crossing the 40-minute mark at this point of the presentation. So our DNP capstone study supported previous studies on the effectiveness of semaglutide for weight loss. However, it challenged the notion that intermittent fasting would significantly enhance that decrease in weight when combined with semaglutide within the short time frame of our study. So in summary, our DNP study not only adhered to, but exemplified the DNP essentials, weaving together scientific evidence, leadership, scholarship, and collaboration to advance the practice of nursing. Okay? So moving on to our next slide. This slide is focused on dissecting the strengths and limitations of our study, as well as outlining the constraints we encountered in offering future recommendations. Let's start with the strengths. One of the key strengths of our DNP study is the significant results we obtained from all the pre and post tests. These results clearly demonstrated that weight and BMI decreased as a result of the intervention with semaglutide, both alone and in combination with IAP. Additionally, our intervention was grounded in existing literature, ensuring that our approach was informed by previous research and best practices. Now, turning on to the limitations, our study did have a few notable limitations. Firstly, we worked with a very small sample size of 12, which limits the generalizability of our findings. Secondly, the limited study duration time might have restricted our ability to observe long-term effects of the interventions. And thirdly, our study did not include gender differences in the design, which could be an important factor in understanding the effectiveness of the intervention. So in terms of constraints of the project, we faced time constraints, big time, right? So the limited duration available for conducting the research impacted various aspects of the project, including the scope and depth of the study, and we did the best we can do with the limited time we're allotted. As for future recommendations, based on our experiences and findings, we suggest that future studies should aim to measure gender differences. This could provide more nuanced insights into how interventions might impact different genders. Additionally, extending the study over a longer period beyond the limited 2 months of this DNP capstone project could help in observing the long-term effectiveness and sustainability of the two interventions. Finally, and has been repeatedly stressed, increasing the sample size would enhance the reliability and generalizability of the results and allow for more comprehensive statistical analysis. So in conclusion, while our study has its strengths and yielded significant findings, recognizing its limitations and constraints opens avenues for more extensive and inclusive research in the future. So this slide 20, brings us to the aspect of sustainability of our project. This is an essential component as it speaks to the potential for our research to have a lasting impact and to be built upon in the future. So firstly, it's important to note that this DNP project is replicable. This means that the methodology and approach we've used can be duplicated in other settings or studies. The replicability is crucial for the validation of our findings for the advancement of knowledge in the field of weight management and obesity care. Secondly, the follow-up project is achievable. Based on the insights and data we've gathered, there is a clear pathway to continue this line of research. A follow-up project could delve deeper into certain aspects of our findings or explore new related questions. And furthermore, the outcomes of this investigation will be utilized as a foundation for subsequent enhancement of care for patients with obesity. This implies that our findings have practical implications that can inform clinical practice and improve future patient outcomes. So finally, we recommend that future research should be conducted to determine the effects of the strategy selected on different genders and among different community groups. Remember, this studies a very limited a segment of population in Southern California. So this would help in understanding the broader applicability and effectiveness of our intervention strategies and ensure that they are inclusive and effective for a more diverse population. So in summary, our project sustainability lies in its potential for replication, the feasibility of follow-up studies, its practical implication for enhancing patient care, and the scope of further research to explore its effectiveness across different demographics. As we conclude this presentation, let's remember that the journey of discovery is always ongoing and never-ending, and our project paves the way for future exploration. So let's move forward to the final slide to wrap up the discussion. So to wrap up, we have our dissemination plan, a critical step in ensuring that valuable findings from our project um, have is passed on and disseminated to relevant audiences and have a more tangible impact. So first and foremost, we plan to publish the results of this project in a scholarly research journal. This is a vital step in contributing to the scientific community and adding to the body of knowledge in the field of weight management and obesity treatment. Publishing in a peer-reviewed journal not only validates our findings but also makes them accessible to researchers and practitioners worldwide. Personally, we have reached out to the Journal of Nursing Practice Applications Reviews of Research, or JNPARR, but have not heard back from them. So next, we intend to share the results with healthcare professionals. This is an essential part of our plan, as these are the individuals who can directly impact and implement our recommendations and take informed decisions in clinical strengths. By disseminating our findings to healthcare providers, we aim to influence practice and improve patient outcomes based on the evidence that we have gathered. So finally, our findings will be shared with academicians. This is particularly important for the replication of the study. By providing academicians with access to our research, we encourage further exploration and validation of our findings. This could lead to new studies, potentially on a larger scale or in different settings, which can enhance our understanding of the effectiveness of interventions like semaglutide and IF in weight management. So in summary, our dissemination plan is multifaceted, targeting the scientific community, healthcare professionals, and academicians. Through these channels, we aim to maximize the impact of our DNP project and contribute to improve healthcare practices and outcomes towards combating the still raging obesity epidemic. As we conclude this presentation at the 46-minute mark, the next slides basically wraps everything up with the references using the 7th edition APA format. And for the final slide, in fulfillment of our course requirement, here's the DNP poster, which is a major tool for dissemination of this DNP study. Thank you very much for your attention. Dr. Terry, Ms. Elaine, throughout this presentation. Let's now open the floor for any questions or clarifications. Time check, it's 47 minutes.
Okay, 47.12.
Point 12, point 13. So,
all right, and stop it.
Let me stop
All right, so
this.
raise your right hand.
Any questions?
Raise your right hand.
Raise my right hand, okay.
Put it over your left shoulder. Pat yourself on the back.
Let me end the show right now. Let me end the slide.
Okay.